Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Lasagna. This is episode number 315, and I'm once again bringing you all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports for you sports fans out there like you and me. And this episode is once again time to round out the past week that was and upcoming for my San Francisco 49ers in this weekly red and gold roundup, the 16th edition of it. For this past 2025, ongoing season for my red and gold. So I hope you had a good, happy holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating during this time of the year. So either way, I hope you had a good holidays. And as we approach the new year, well, I hope you have those New Year plans lined up. If you don't, that's fine. That's fine too. And I know some of you don't celebrate New Year's for your specific reasons that you don't need to disclose, but yeah, that's okay too. But anyway, we're here to talk about some red and gold football here in the Bay Area. The big 3-game stretch began this past week and it's going to continue this weekend. So we'll talk about both things here in this episode. So let's talk about the first game that we need to talk about from this past week, shall we? So, yes, this 3-game stretch for my San Francisco 49ers that is going to conclude for this season. They started out in Indianapolis on a Monday night, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. My San Francisco 49ers, they were, 10-4? 10-4 entering this game currently. And they entered this game needing to win this game to officially get their playoff spots. But they actually got it. They got it already, thanks to some help from the Pittsburgh Steelers, beating the Detroit Lions a day earlier on a Sunday. So, early Christmas gift received from the Steelers. So, thank you to the black and gold. Very late. Thank you to them. But anyway, regardless of some help, this 3-game stretch was an important one because technically this was the start of the 49ers playoffs. Playoffs? Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. This was the official start of their playoff run anyways, that started in Indy because we needed to know a lot of things about this team because we needed to know how the offense was going to do, especially from Brock Purdy, his side of things, but especially the defense. How are they going to handle all the adversity, given that there are a lot of questions and a lot of critiques around this young stud squad that remains, given the injuries to Nick Bosa, to Fred Warner, the rookie Michael Williams, and the multitude of in and out injuries throughout this team. So, yeah, a lot of things to question and critique about this young stud and some duds defense for Robert Saleh's squad. So, yeah, there's a lot of things for the 49ers heading into probably their most important stretch in quite some time. As a lot of people were wondering about them, including myself. As much as I've haven't been as harsh on them in seasons past, I still had various questions about this team, and that started with this stretch that began in Indianapolis. So enough about that. Let's talk about the game itself, because the Niners offense really surprised me in this one, and I mean it in a really good way. They were striking iron hot from the very beginning after their defense totally shit the bed on Uncle Philip Rivers on the opening drive. I'll talk about the defense in a little bit because boy, do I have something to say about that defense. But I really liked how Brock Purdy and the offense really responded, especially Purdy. He played a great game in this one. Purdy was on a mission like a super technician, zinging mid-rangers, throwing deep balls to George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, who had his best outing. He's been having some of his good best outings as in the second half. And even Kendrick Bourne, he got his $500K incentive too. So yeah, you can't forget about Kendrick Bourne, who got some money in this game. So yeah, he is slinging and dinging to a variety of people in this game, which was the main key that I wanted to see in this game. Getting more people involved. Bourne, Sky Moore, Demarcus Robinson, who got the first touchdown for the 49ers. So yeah, Purdy was slinging and dealing throughout this game. But yeah, the only mistake that he made was very late in the game when the Niners were up double digits, which was a high pass to Kendrick Bourne, and it was intercepted by Cam Bynum. So yeah, we all thought that was going to be a threatening drive, but we'll talk more why that wasn't. But other than that, there were no 3 and outs. And they scored on all their possessions, whether it be touchdowns or field goals. The only thing that is still a little concerning is that the run game isn't really. It's I wouldn't say really. It's not quite. It's still not up to snuff yet. It's like there's no like big breakout runs like for McCaffrey or Brian Robinson Jr. It's like the offensive line is not providing holes, nor is McCaffrey nor Brian Robinson trying to find holes or find openings to break out for like big yard gains. But that's for this game it was fine because Purdy was on a big time heater in this one, like he was trying to prove something. So that was fine. But hopefully in these last 2 games that the run game can finally start heating up. And speaking of the offensive line, they were surprisingly good in this one. Normally I would shit on the offensive line, especially with the likes of Jake Brendel and the right tackle that I can never get his Colin McKivitz. But surprisingly, they really held their own in this one, notably against a defensive front that's been shown to be very solid, pretty good, especially with the return of DeForest Buckner. But no, they actually held their own in this game. So, I'll give credit where it's due. The offensive line, they allowed pressure, but they never got to Brock Purdy. Like, they never sacked his butt. So, credit to the offensive line. They really did their job on Monday night. Conversely, though, the defense was pure. I wouldn't say pure. They were mostly butt cheeks. They were mostly butt cheeks. Like how do they let a 44-year-old grandpa go scorched earth on their butts? Not just on the opening possession, but for a lot of this game, on countless possessions. They let Uncle Phil go on. I'd say like a lot of the first half, torching their butts. He even tested them. Like he even tested them on the very first throw. Sure, it was underthrown, but that was just a sign of things to come. Like he threw a deep ball that was underthrown, but then he went to work in Philip Rivers fashion, mid-range strikes to Alec Pierce and Josh Downs, and yeah, nearly everyone in that secondary was leaving both of those guys open. And then you also have the likes of Michael Pittman Jr., who was having a kind of quiet night, but didn't really have to do all that much because Pierce and Josh Downs were doing pretty good for themselves with Philip Rivers. And then, of course, you had Tyler Warren, too, getting in on the action, whether it was uncovered or covered by that Charmin Ultra Soft defense, who were missing tackles and then tackling too late, mind you, when they already got the first down. So, yeah, typical of this young stud/dud defense. So, yeah, not great stuff. And again, there's also a notable thing that I saw in this game before we sidetrack even further. Why is Malik Mustafa pass rushing? Why was there a safety blitz like Malik Mustafa rushing to Phillip Rivers, and then you had I think it was Bryce Huff like in coverage. Why? Like what are we do? What are we doing here? Like this should not be like the play call, whether it was like planned or improv. Like this should not be like this happened on multiple occasions. So I'm not sure what we were trying to go for here. Like what was the ideal plan? So anyway, anywho, yeah, this is like whatever Robert Saleh was calling, whether it was man to man, spread zone, like nothing was working to cover Phillip Rivers and his offense for much of this game. Like the only times that they could stop the Colts offense was whenever Jonathan Taylor had the ball, surprisingly. That run defense was at least a positive because Jonathan Taylor couldn't they couldn't run the ball, which I guess made the passing offense much better, or because Phillip Rivers underthrew his receivers, and then they managed to at least get to Phillip Rivers like once or twice, but that was pretty much it. Another net positive, I will give this dud performance for this defense was when they came in the clutch. You know, CJ West strip sacked Rivers, even though they didn't get the ball, and then they forced two forever downs for the Colts offense late in the game, and then D Winters sealed the game after Purdy threw the interception with a pick six on Uncle Phil, putting Uncle Phil to sleep, and not really, but you get the idea. But overall, there were plenty of ups and downs with this team, mostly on the defensive side, in this first win of a 3-game gauntlet as they move to 11-4, as they get ready for a much bigger showdown on a Sunday night. But before we talk about that, we obviously got to talk about the other side of the coin, and that is about the Colts. Man, how about Uncle Phil? How about Uncle Phillip Rivers, Grandpa Phillip Rivers? For as frustrating as it was watching it from my team's POV, I got to hand it to Phillip Rivers. It was pretty fun seeing him play. And, for all the quarterbacks out there in the league, most of them actually, Phillip Rivers at age 44, even though his age started to show at towards the end of the game, I'd say he looked pretty solid, if not good at times. He was, and a lot of the fun moments was when he was at the line, or in shotgun, when he was like doing his play calls, and then he was like doing his audibles. It was like mic'd up so loud that you can hear everything that he was saying. You can hear all the calls, all the audibles. I don't know. I don't know. I just couldn't help find it, but I found it very funny. Like he was just screaming his audibles like so loud that it was vibrating like all the way jacked up. So yeah, that was fun to see. Phillip Rivers like playing probably like better than a quarter of these quarterbacks that are in the league. But obviously, like for all the good that Mr. Rivers did in this game, there's obviously also the bad. He was underthrowing the ball a good amount. Again, like I said, with his age coming back to bite him, and then the late game turnovers, which has been pretty prevalent throughout his career, but in this game in particular, it caused them to lose this game, including the pick six. And with the game out of reach, Riley Leonard, the backup that initially replaced Daniel Jones when he got hurt, he finished the game with a garbage time drive that ended up going nowhere. So the offense as a whole, besides that, they did well under Rivers until the second half. But what surprised me was with how inefficient Jonathan Taylor was. I was just waiting for him at some point to plow through the supposedly weak, or the usually weak 49ers run defense, but it never happened. Like I guess it had to do with the fact that both of their starting tackles were out, and one of them got injured. One of their linemen got injured. Oh, the center got injured on the very first play of the game. And then you had the backup center. Or it was the fact that the 49ers sold out to stop Jonathan Taylor. Or maybe it was both. Could be. It could be both of those things. But either way, Jonathan Taylor had a very quiet night. And it goes back to the fact that the last month and a half has not been kind to Jonathan Taylor, JT. So I don't know what's going on with him. The defense, the defense though was the major reason why though they lost this game. Like they sold this game badly for the Colts. Even with the return of DeForest Buckner, and even though they pressured Purdy at times, not once did they notch a sack on him. So that being said, with the inefficient pass rush, Purdy was slicing them up in the secondary, which was already weakened with no Sauce Gardner and no Charvarius Ward. So yeah, Brock Purdy was again out there like a super technician, destroying them, and on nearly every drive. So yeah, the defense like sold out. They sold out, and giving Purdy like every chance. When you look at this Colts team coming up in their final two games with the Jags and the Texans, you could be seeing a lot more of the same, if not worse, to close out the year. So, finishing up on this game before we move on to the next. This was another very efficient game for the offense, minus the late interception. Brock Purdy played very well, throwing for 5 touchdowns to 4 different people. So he shared the ball around. And I'll give credit to the offensive line again. They held up their own against the Colts, one of the better defensive fronts, and especially with the return of DeForest Buckner. However, something to watch going throughout the week was an injury to George Kittle, notably an ankle injury that he got in the third quarter, which he said that he actually suffered in the first or second quarter in the first half, and he was playing through it. So that's something to monitor. The defense, they still suck ass, and I've been crashing out about how they've been like how about they've been getting torched by Uncle Philip Rivers, and I would have crashed out even more if they actually had lost to Uncle Grandpa Philip Rivers. But I mean, at the end of the day, they won this game. Like the Niners won this game, and the defense made the necessary clutch play. So, I mean, the defense still sucks ass, but I mean, they won. That's all that matters. So hopefully this is the first of hopefully 3 needed wins. So yeah, they're a step closer to not just winning the NFC West, but the NFC's top seed. But they're on a short week, and now they face a much tougher and a much major challenge, and what's going to be another primetime game, and that primetime game will come against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, which we'll talk about very shortly after we talk about, again, the Colts side of things. Phillip Rivers was surprisingly much better than last week in Seattle. Obviously, you had the rust come into play. He had to shake off the 5-year layoff from being out of football. He sliced and diced my defense with ease for 2 touchdowns and threatening even more, but just not enough with his age eventually catching up to him. And obviously, his defense selling out on him. And then eventually his old turnover habits struck again with the game-ending pick 6 to D-winners. Jonathan Taylor was also surprisingly quiet in this, so the lack of a running game put more pressure on Rivers in the offense to do more in this game. So yeah, overall, this was another one of those games in their free-falling season that's likely gonna cap off with their playoff hopes officially getting dashed by either the Jaguars or the Texans in the last 2 games of the season. So at some point, whether it's the next game or in the finale that, the Colts are done. Pretty disappointing. They start out, 7-1 or 8-1, and now here they are. They have free fallen. All the way down to 8-8 or 8-7. Yeah, how sad for the Colts. So now let's look ahead to a very important and very major Week 17 Sunday night football game against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. So much more important things. Not that the Week 16 matchup didn't matter anyway for the 49ers, but this is going to be a much tougher challenge for the 49ers as they take on Caleb Williams and the Bears under the bright lights of Sunday night. Looking back at the Bears' Week 16 game against the Green Bay Packers on a Saturday night, they faced a 16-6 hole with just over 5 minutes left in the game, but somehow, some way, they furiously rallied back. That started with the Cairo Santos field goal, and in a very rare instance this season, they successfully recovered an onside kick, and they tied the game with Caleb and not Colston Loveland. Their rookie tight end, I don't know the name, sorry. But yeah, they sent the game to overtime, and there, Chicago capitalized on a botched snap on 4th down from the Packers to set their own offense up in prime position to score, where Caleb Williams capped off the comeback and win the game with a moon ball to DJ Moore to win it 22-16 and avenge their loss to the Packers from 2 weeks ago in Lambeau. So, yeah, this was for as silent as the Bears were and for most of this game, they managed to add another signature comeback in what has been a game of close in a season full of close games for this first season under Ben Johnson. So, yeah, when you look at how the Bears are this season, it's been a mixed bag. A mixed bag. Sometimes you'll get this version of Caleb and not a not so great version of Caleb, and it reflects on most of the teams too. You'll get a mixed bag of pretty much everything. So this is still a relatively interesting team nonetheless. And when it comes to last week, they didn't exactly play up to standards for most of the game. Even when Jordan Love left with a concussion, and both Caleb and his defense were getting outplayed by the backup Malik Willis. So, yeah, but still, they ended up with the win, regardless. It probably was one of the best games of this season, if not one of the top 5 games of the year. Nonetheless, though, this is still a game in a team that the 49ers cannot sleep on at any point. Especially in the fourth quarter, the dreaded fourth quarter that the Bears and Caleb are known to be comeback kings in. Like the Bears, especially in this game, are going to be coming in extra motivated to build off probably their biggest win of the season against a division rival in the Packers, because they're coming in looking to lock up the NFC North away from the Packers. But even if they have already had it going into this game, because they do have a chance to get it a day earlier should the Packers lose to the Ravens a day earlier in a game where both Jordan Love and Lamar Jackson are out. So, yeah, like regardless of what happens there, the Bears are going to be becoming extra motivated, not just playing for the NFC North, but an outside chance to get the NFC's top seed. So a lot is at stake for both of these teams. So some players to watch for both of these teams. Obviously, you look for the Bears, you got Caleb Williams, who has been having a much better season than his rookie year last year. He still can be a little erratic at times, but he's been taking better care of the football. And like sometimes he still can take a little bit too long to get rid of the ball, though. But he's been using his mobility a little bit, I say slightly more smart than he did last year and trying to make plays. So that's something that the Niners need to account for. And then looking at the running game, DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monaghan especially, he has been the Bears' bell cow of the offense in the running game, and he's been helping offset the passing game, so providing some balance and stability in Ben Johnson's offense. Meanwhile, for my San Francisco 49ers, obviously, with a performance like that, Brock Purdy coming off a 5-touchdown performance against the Colts, so he's looking to follow up. Not exactly how he did with like a 5-touchdown stat line, mind you, but looking to repeat at least how he did on film on the eye test, like he did against the Colts, and translate that over to this Sunday night game against the Bears. So, limit the turnovers, limit the limit the mistakes that a lot of people see in Purdy. So, be on that mission like a super technician, Mr. Purdy. And then obviously you look at the defense again, because that's been the theme for this season since Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Michael Williams went down. Obviously you got to get to Caleb. You got to, you got to get stops in the secondary. The run defense is going to be a major question mark. So, the defense is going to be a major watch. They got to get stops. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Bears, they're going to be down their second top receiver in Rome Odunze. So he's going to be out for a 5th straight game with a foot injury. So he's been out for nearly a whole month. So it's going to be on DJ Moore to be a Caleb Williams top target once again. You also got to have Colston Loveland played another significant role. I think, what's his name? Devin Duvernay might also have to make another contributing role as well. So some key pieces, reserve pieces, will have to see more significant playing time with Rome Odunze out once again. Corner Nick McLeod has also been ruled out for this game, while Josh Blackwell is unsure to play. Both of them are dealing with illnesses. So with Josh Blackwell, we'll see we'll see if he's good to go for this Sunday night game at the time of this recording. For my San Francisco 49ers, as I talked about with George Kittle earlier in this episode, the good news is for 49ers fans is that Kittle avoided the dreaded high ankle sprain per Kyle Shanahan. And it's only the low to mid ankle sprain, so that's not as bad. But he has not been practicing, and he's been ruled as a game time decision by John Lynch and Shanahan. So, in my opinion, though, if he is going to play through this, probably not the best idea, but he has the warrior mentality. He has that WWE mentality, but I think it may be wise to keep him out for next week's also potentially big game against the Seahawks, where it might be winner take all, that type of game. Even if this game, if he does not play, it means sacrificing of what he brings to the table with, like, blocking or run or pass blocking or all that good stuff. If he is out, I'd like to see more of Jake Tongas in this game, because when Kittle was out the first time around, Tongas was, I'd say he was very solid. So he should see an increased role. Ricky Pearsall looks to be on track to return after missing last week's game with an ankle and knee injury from the hip drop tackle he suffered from 2 weeks ago. So this is not official word for me, but from seeing the Twitter reports, the tweets and the IGs, it seems like he is on track to return. Looking at the keys to victory for both of these teams, for the Bears, you got to force turnovers on Brock and this offense. Given that the Bears are supposedly a team that forces the most turnovers in the league, well, you got to find ways to force turnovers on Brock Purdy, whether it be like getting pressure in his face, punching the ball out from the receivers, strip sacking Purdy, getting the ball out of Christian McCaffrey's hands. Well, you got to find, if you want to continue to prove your value as the team with the most turnovers, do that here against a red hot Niners offense. And then for the Bears also, don't wait until the fourth quarter for the offense to start producing points. Like there are three other quarters of football. Caleb in these offense, They cannot sit around, get ice cold for the first 3 quarters, and then start playing football in the fourth. Because if they do that, and that defense for the 49ers somehow, some way, they start kicking your butt, they're never going to recover. For my San Francisco 49ers, you got to swarm and box in Caleb Williams by any means, because Caleb Williams, unlike Phillip Rivers, he is a mobile quarterback. He will beat you with his legs if you don't keep him in the pocket. So this Niners pass rush, or if there is any, if you can beat his much better offensive line compared to last year when the Niners played them, then they have to find a way for this Niners front seven. They got to find a way to keep him in the pocket, and if not in the pocket, keep him away from getting past the line of scrimmage, and just box him in, swarm him. Don't let him make any big plays or any mid-range plays by that means. And then I would like to see a repeat performance from Brock Purdy. It's absolutely necessary against a team like Caleb Williams and the Bears. But I would also like to see the run game get going. I want that run game from Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson to get going, because it's been a quiet outing from them for quite some time. So they're like one of the lowest productive run games in the NFL. And that's just not on the stat line. You look at them on highlights in full games. You look at it for all 4 quarters. Like they're not. The run game is not exactly doing quite well. Even if Christian McCaffrey is doing well in the receiving game, the pure running game, whether it's inside or out, it's for some reason not doing well. So I would like to see this run game, kind of moving along, so we can get some balance back in the offense. So this Sunday night game against the Bears is gonna be probably one of the biggest ones, if not. Well, I don't know if I'd say the biggest quite yet, because we still got next week around the league. So I'd say it's one of the biggest ones of the season by far, given all the implications and with that it has on not just these 2 teams, but the entire, like I say, the top 6 in the NFC. So whoever wins this game will have the track record on the NFC's top seed. But for my 49ers, they absolutely need to have this game. They need to have the performance of a lifetime. One of 2 of the performances of their lifetime to win this game, and then going to next week, which I don't want to look at quite yet. But I'll just say this. They got to have one of the 2 performances of a lifetime, because they absolutely need to have this game. And then again, another one next week, so they can have the division and the AFC and the NFC's top seed. So this is a game that they absolutely need to have, and do it in a very nice fashion. So I'll leave it at that. But let me know your thoughts on this upcoming Sunday night game under the bright lights for the 49ers against the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. So I'm looking forward to this game nonetheless. Should be a good one. Hopefully it won't be the opposite of that. So give me your thoughts. Give me your predictions for the 49ers taking on the Bears in the comments on YouTube. If you're listening to this on audio, whether it's on Apple or Spotify, go to my Twitter, go to my Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna to send me your predictions or your thoughts on this game, as well as the previous game against the Colts. Send those to me in a DM, and we can have a conversation about those topics. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast. I have been your host, Dylan Lasagna, once again bringing you all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. This has been episode number 315, and until the next one, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your filthy casual takes on the world of sports. Happy holidays to you all once again. If you didn't celebrate the holidays, well, have a good day to you anyways. And we're going into a new year relatively soon. So early Happy New Year to you all. And Yeah, until I see you, when I see you in the next one, peace out.